create this reaction video for the article Shakespeare in the Bush by Laura Bohannon. Through the reading, there are clear and blatant cultural divides. The author explains a personal interest in Hamlet as means of reading for resolution of an argument with the author's friend regarding the paramount theme of the story. The author also mentions that she has a renewed ability to relax by immersion into the story, which ends up being a little more than she bargained for once she gains the companionship and the time with the elders. This story turns into recounting her personal cultural applications to the themes and the events in Hamlet, but also the new interactions with the tribal leaders for those who are in the Tiv in West Africa. It's actually located mainly in Nigeria's Medell Belt, the region there, and southwest Cameroon. It's a farming people nestled in their tribal society, living simply and satisfied with guidance of the elders or the circle of the elders, where the old men, or in this story, the old man, my personal favorite character, and the general were huge cultural influences for her to understanding this and being able to apply Hamlet with what she thought would be a universal theme, where she would win the aforementioned argument with her friend. And it ends up in this story that she gains a better appreciation for her own cultural applications, the subgroup of that culture that she's involved in, and the way that this story applies to the culture she's with, and how diverse the interpretation can actually be based off of how they apply it to their own law, their own society, the education system, and the way that their roles and the individual participants in their culture would be. Now, interpreting cultural meanings requires an immersion into the culture itself, which she gains by pairing with the people, taking time. She's helping with the children. She's navigating the camp. She's doing, the normal missionary work, living among those people, being a separate but hopefully helpful participant in their regular social intertwining. Like I said, they're a basic, simple farming people, and she was a part of their life for just that little time. And even this culture, which the author admits to immersing in, creates a different perspective. They had many ideologies present in the interpretations and the synopsis of Hamlet and the different components, whether it has to do with how Hamlet and his brother had their conflict, or what happened with the daughter, or the potential marriage, or the mother. There's different conversations through the story where her own social applications couldn't universally apply once she thought about it, and once she was explained about their cultural applications from the elders of the tribe and the tribal type of society versus the relationships that result, and how the powers would be divided, and what would happen once powers collided. Now, the facets of their relationships mirror in many ways. I'm going to mainly speak about the way that they are alike, because the conflicts are near trivial. It has a lot to do with the location they're at and the way that their societies were built, because the industrialization of the society in her homeland versus the very tribal existence continually through in Africa have structured independent societies with mirroring human components. The association, the need for connection and similar purpose that even the old man mentions, the general even speaks about, even though he's a bit of a hard character in the story, and the connection that she finds in telling the story, how Hamlet can be universal, things that she's actually mentioned in her own internal monologue as a part of the storyline. The education that happens to new members. She's not an inaugurated member of their society. She's not a part of this tribal elders, but they're inviting her almost as if they're teaching knowledge and their values, the skills of navigating society. He mentions this was a very good story. He acknowledges that what she was telling as her role in the interaction She was telling him a good story. He was a compliment. It's also him acknowledging that the story itself, its image that was portrayed of that other society, was completely unique to what they were regularly experiencing. Hamlet seemed like a buffoon to him. Now, she didn't understand the weight of his lesson at the end, which I'm not going to encapsulate the entire thing. It's worth a cute little read. But you must tell us more stories of your country. Take this back to your elders. Or I think that he actually meant friend, because her friend was the one who challenged her about the story and about the way that she was interpreting it versus her finding new lessons and new morals, new navigation through whatever cultural applications she would find through it. Now, not just sitting in the bush is a mention that she had thought that that would be the more relaxing thing to do, when in reality, she was able to engage in something that would end up being more worthwhile. Now, but among those who know things and who have taught you wisdom, he assumes that she's already able to be among those people who would have written that story. She's able to be around those people who have the wisdom that gets imbued into their society, respecting her as a person and engaging in her being a part of the story. He's my favorite character. It's very cute. If you think about his role and him taking on that very ginger and sweet tone, my interpretation, it's my personal interpretation, my reaction. Now, when they go to the law of things, the way that Hamlet applies, the order and regulated relationships of both societies, different but alike in nature because they are the demanding and the very controlling essence of that society, they both have that existence, as is in human nature, the law of God. We follow the image, we are made in the image, we follow the word. It's human nature, as created to believe. Now, the status of the person in her was regarded as worthy to the elders. And that's one thing that, whether it's a pupil, a child, it's worthy of time. And that is timeless and pretty near universal in all cultures to find that. Where humanity can have worth, even a child, even a pupil, even an elder, even a peer. Now, they were still elders to her, so they were treating her as such. The roles of the elders in this story, their statuses, weighed into how each culture understands and navigates, even the subgroups, which again, I think that this is another subgroup because these are these are tribal societies. They are not nomadic. They are not more broad span. It's not like they're industrialized. They are not more of that cityscape type of person, but they have different but similar understandings of the lessons and the tones and the interactions in each story. You know, as a Christian, this is all a glorious tale of intertwined principles of human nature. As we are blessed to be humans ruled by Him and His image. I think back to Galatians 3:28. It's my favorite. Neither Jew nor Greek, neither slave nor free, neither man nor woman, we are all one under Him. And I think that that is one tone that can be found through this if you look at it objectively from a distance, where no matter where you are, no matter the application, this is a wonderful, exemplary tale about how you can find the universal truths. It is universal because, again, we are all one. The way we interpret, the way we live, the way we speak, no matter the language. Now, the networks, the centrality of these unlikely nodes, a beautiful string of ties of humanity over a story of woe, the invitation for the author to be part of this in-group, the closeness in their interactions, the cohesiveness, exemplifying homogeneity, those could all be seen as innovators. Her, the general, the old man, the tribe, the group of elders, even her friend, inviting her to have innovative thought. Now, the old man almost pleading to borrow from that world and diffuse some of his world into the author's elders, truly exemplifies the notion that every society is an ocean of information, a unique collaboration for the author, where her collective society's principles and ideologies regarding the current and the tribal individualistic society, not necessarily needing the current from any other, rather enjoying the cultural exploration. She gets to explore their culture, she gets to explore her own culture, and she finds new tones, new trends in her own subculture or the group that she could find akin to in wherever she's from, and hopefully find akin in the tribe. It's pretty cool looking at the application.